Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the best mock draft in the entire universe that absolutely nobody ever disagrees with and everybody 100% likes every single pick and player in here, okay? Welcome to it, the 2024 Soggy Sports Mock Draft 2.0, okay? Here we go, alright? Now, a little bit of a preference before the video. Some of these guys will not be in the lottery in the official mock draft months and months from now. Obviously, shit's gonna change, okay? I understand that, and I even kind of acknowledge that a few times throughout this video. But for the most part, I do like this video, and there's gonna definitely be a few probably controversial picks in here, and I'm aware of that, and I just like to go off my own ratings. I don't really go off anyone else's ratings, and I just go with how I see a player. But obviously, as things transpire throughout the year, things are gonna become more clear. We're gonna get more info on players, we're gonna see what they were, and they're gonna drop and raise in the rankings throughout the entire season. Obviously, that is how it works. So if that does sound interesting to you, please watch the video all the way through. And without further ado, without running on too much, just get right into this video. Oh, and one more thing, just before we get into it, here is the draft lottery I used, okay? I used Tankathon, I hit the button, this is what it came up with, okay? It's the fairest way to do it, and this is what it came up with. So don't witch hunt me if your team fell. Sorry, Detroit. But yeah, okay, this is what it looks like. So this is what we're using for this video, just for some context before we get into all of it. So with the first overall pick in this class, we have a shocker, the Philadelphia 76ers. I would be shocked if they end up even being near this by the end of the year, but it's crazy. This is where we're at right now. So the Philadelphia 76ers getting the first overall pick, and I have them selecting Ace Bailey. Now, Ace Bailey is 6'10". He's out of Rutgers, and in my opinion, the kid is a flat-out superstar, okay? Like, he is a absolute freak of an athlete, and I mean a freak, okay? No Greek, okay? He is a beast when it comes onto the athletic side of the ball. Now, obviously, that is not all of basketball. There's been tons of freak athletes, James Bouknight, huge highlight, that have been terrible in the NBA. But he is much more than that. He has shown, even in college in his first few games, that he is a legitimate 3-level scorer. His vertical, like his ability to jump fast is only like comparable to how Zion was in college. Like, you just can't jump with him because he gets up so fast. And then on top of that, he's so good at making tough shots. Like, he can shoot turnaround mid-range shots that look like Brandon Ingram. He can shoot the three if you leave him open, so you can't do that. And so he's not even like an Amen Azir Thompson situation where you can just leave him wide open for three, because they're some of the worst three-point shooters we've ever seen. But, at least coming into the NBA, that is. But he can shoot from three, he can get to the hole, he can dunk like a motherfucker, he can finish very strongly, he's 6'10", so his two-way potential is just through the roof. And in my opinion, I just don't see a flaw in his game. Now, a lot of people say, oh, he doesn't make any room, like how he's not gonna be a scorer, he can't make any room. That hasn't hurt him, and if he can make those shots consistently, it doesn't really matter. And so far in college, he has looked like he can make those shots consistently, and he has been an absolute beast. He's only going to get better as he gets stronger, faster, smarter, things like that. So I think Ace Bailey is a perfect pick, and I think Philadelphia would be very much mistaken if they passed up on him with the first overall pick right here, especially with all the injury issues right now they're dealing with Embiid. They're probably going to need another superstar who can stay healthy. Paul George, I mean, the dude can't stay healthy this year. They only have Tyrese Maxey and Jared McCain, and those are two great players. But I think if you can get a young Ace Bailey into this lineup, that would be a huge boost for the future of this organization. And now, second overall, we have the Toronto Raptors selecting Cooper Flag. Now, Cooper Flag is 6'9" out of Duke. I highly doubt I have to introduce you to him. Everybody knows him. Every media outlet has been writing his dick since he was playing for Team USA and he had a few dunks. And in my opinion, Cooper Flag is either a superstar or a star level player. I am very high on Cooper Flag. Now, not as high on some people, obviously, because I have Ace Bailey ahead of him as of right now. But Cooper Flag is still an absolute beast of a prospect. He's a very solid athlete. He's a 3-level scorer, high two-way potential, kind of the exact same thing as Ace Bailey. But he's probably a better facilitator, I will give him, but he's also a lot less of an athlete. And Cooper Flag isn't a bad athlete by any stretch of the imagination. It's just Ace Bailey is a once-in-a-lifetime athlete. So it's kind of picking hairs between the two, and I even made a whole video about who I think is better and why I think Ace Bailey is better, but it is very close. And like I said, I think Cooper Flag is still a star at minimum and a superstar and very, very likely. So I think the Toronto Raptors, with how young they are and with them kind of going in a rebuild direction, pairing him up with guys like Grady Dick, Mogbo, Jamal Shed, I'm missing some of Scotty Barnes. I'm sorry if I missed anybody else. Ulrich Kamchi, one of my favorite picks last year because he was one of the last picks. And I think it was a good value, but that's besides the point. So I think the Toronto Raptors would be getting an absolute beast. They would be getting their star of the future to pair with Scotty Barnes. I think they would really be building something, and they would be probably one of the more fun teams to watch in the entire league with the young core they would have put together if they were able to pick Cooper Flagg number 2 overall. And now number 3 overall, we have the San Antonio Spurs selecting Igor Demon. Now, let's just say, amazing name. Anytime you can have Demon at the back end of your name as an NBA player, it's pretty cool, okay? He has a great name. He's a 6'9". He's out of BYU. In my opinion, his floor is a high-level role player, and his ceiling is a star-level player, because Igor has very good size. And by the way, I'm sorry if I'm butchering his name. He has very good size. He's a 3-level scorer, and he fits what the Spurs would need. Because if you look at what they have right now, they have Victor Wembanyama, obviously, at center. They have guys like Stefan Castle, Devin Vassell at their guard positions, and even have Harrison Barnes at the small forward position, although he is 100% not the future of that position for them. And then they even have guys like Jeremy Sochan at the power forward position, and then Branham and City Sissoko, as well as other young guys kind of farther down the depth chart. So I think for sure the Spurs have a ton of young talent, and really the only spot they don't have a young guy for the future is their small forward position. And although Egger is 6'9", he can 100% play this small forward position, and I think with his skill set that he has, he would actually fit this team extremely well. There's another few options I had, like I think they could have picked Ben Saref here and a few other guys, but in my opinion, I think Igor fits them very, very well, and that overall it would give them a young core starting 5 plus some extra guys off their bench, and they would be set up for the future very, very well going forward. And I just think overall he would fit this team extremely, extremely well. 4th overall, now we have the Chicago Bulls selecting Trey Johnson. Now Trey Johnson is 6'6" out of Texas. In my opinion, he has star level potential with probably just high level role player ceiling. And overall, I mean, just probably one of the most pure scorers in this draft. He can go out and get a bucket anytime you need. He's a very solid ball handler. He's pretty quick as well, pretty athletic. His defense could potentially be questionable, but I think if he gets into the right system, and if Chicago can teach him how to play defense correctly at 6'6", as a solid athlete, he shouldn't be able to just get bullied out there or anything like that. He's going to get stronger, obviously every rookie does as they go on in their NBA careers. So I think overall he was going to pan out, at least be average on defense on that side of the ball, and could be very, very good on the offense side of the ball. And when you have guys like Lonzo Ball, Josh Giddey, Patrick Williams on this roster, you need guys that can go out and get buckets, because really outside of Zach LaVine, they don't have many people like that. And I think Trey Johnson would go a very long way in trying to help out in taking some of the pressure off of Zach LaVine, even if he's coming off the bench, to give them a spark on the offensive side of the ball, and to put a lot less of the pressure on Zach LaVine on that side of the ball, to really kind of take it off his shoulders a little bit and make his job a little less stressful night in and night out. And now moving on to pick number 5, we have the Washington Wizards selecting Liam McNeely. He is 6'8" out of UConn. In my opinion, he is probably going to be a high-level role player with the potential to be a star, leaning more towards the high-level role player thing, but I don't think that's bad, because I think he pretty perfectly fits what this team's going to need going forward. Like, I think Kyle Kuzma's course in Washington, that's basically run it. I don't think they want to keep him long-term, and I don't think he's a long-term answer. So I think they're going to probably look to trade him. Jonas is 100% probably getting traded by the end of this year, and they're going to need a running mate for Alex Sarr. And Alex Sarr is going to have to go play center, and although, yes, he hasn't looked amazing, he's definitely shown flashes, so I would still have a lot of faith that he's going to end up working out as time progresses and as he gets more comfortable. So getting him a front court partner in Liam McNeely, who plays pretty similarly, could be pretty important, because he's going to be able to spread the floor as well. He's pretty offensively talented for his position. He's solid on defense as well. He's definitely not bad. He's a very smart player, and I just think he really fits what the Wizards needs. And like I said, he's a very good scorer from that position, and he fits what the modern day big really wants. So I think overall he would be a great pick for Washington, 5th overall. And now with the 6th overall pick, the Utah Jazz are going to be selecting Dylan Harper, 6'6" out of Rutgers. He's Ace Bailey's teammate, and Dylan Harper is a very, very solid player. He's just all around a very good ball handler. He has very high self-creation potential. He can finish around the rim very nicely. He has 3-level scoring potential. Right now, I'd say he's more of a 3-point and getting to the paint threat. But he can develop that mid-range, in my opinion. I think he's shown signs of that. He has very good signs for his position, or size for his position. He could be a very solid defender due to his strength and size. And I just think overall, Dylan Harper is going to be an excellent teammate to go along with the Utah Jazz. Because although I like Keontae George, I definitely don't think he's a lead guard. I think he's more of a shooting guard type guy. And overall, I think Keontae would benefit a lot from playing with someone like Dylan Harper. I know they have Isaiah Collier on the roster, and I like Isaiah Collier, but I mean, at some point you got to draft off a talent if you're Utah, and that's what I have them doing here. So they're going to have a plethora of young talent on this team. They already do, and I just think they're going to keep adding on to that, and they're going to keep making the future brighter and brighter. And I think Dylan Harper would be a 100% great pick for them to go right here. And now 7th overall, we have the New Orleans Pelicans selecting Noah Asanje. Definitely butchered his name, but his name is definitely Noah. He's 6'8". He plays in France. In my opinion, he's a star and a high-level role player. I feel like sound like a broken record saying that. This draft class is just absolutely stacked. And Noah overall is just an absolute beast. He is a very good scorer for his position and size. He has a very solid ball handle. He can legitimately score by himself. He can make his own shot pretty easily. He just fits what the team needs as well. Now, the team needs a center. Now, yes, Ves Messi has been okay this year, but I mean, hasn't shown that he can be a long-term fit, and on top of that, he definitely still has his issues on the offensive side of the ball. His IQ isn't the highest on the defensive side of the ball, so there's definitely things that New Orleans needs to work on at the big man position, and on top of that, they have almost no depth at the position outside of Missy, so it makes it very difficult for them. So adding a guy like Noah, who although isn't a center, is a big man and can play power forward, and he needs to add strength for sure, but I just think he's going to fit with what this team needs. He has very good two-way potential. He has very good scoring from the position. He would fit alongside Zion very nicely, and it would just at least give them more size, depth-wise, that this team desperately needs. And now 8th overall, we have the Charlotte Hornets selecting Con Knipple. Now, I think that's how you say his name. That's the only way I ever hear the Duke announcer say it. So we're going with Knipple, okay? The nipple is out, okay? He's 6'7" out of Duke. He's Cooper Flagg's teammate, and in my opinion, he's going to be an amazing role player in the NBA. He's an absolute sharpshooter. He has pretty good two-way potential, being 6'7" as a shooting guard, basically. And I just think overall he would fit this team extremely well because the Charlotte Hornets, they have LaMelo. LaMelo's a very good passer and a very good scorer, and just a really overall very good player. And getting a guy that can shoot the three at the level that Knipple can, on top of being able to make his own shot when he absolutely has to, would be a very nice fit with them. And then you also put Brandon Miller, Mark Williams in there, and then Mikal Bridges, and then you have a pretty solid team. They already are a pretty solid team, but I think you would get even better with this addition. Plus you have Grant Williams, and with Knipple being 6'7", there's a real chance that he could even be a replacement for Grant Williams going forward as well. So he fits his team, in my opinion, extremely well. And overall, the Charlotte Hornets would be getting a very nice addition with the 8th overall pick. And now number 9 overall, we have the Indiana Pacers selecting Ben Saraf. Now, Ben Saraf is basically what you would think Denny Avengita was supposed to be coming into the NBA. He's 6'6" out of Israel. They may have played for the same team, honestly, when they were coming up, obviously not together, okay? But Ben Saraf, in my opinion, is just one of the more underrated guys and could very much rise in the lottery as the year goes on and as we see him play more and more at the pro level. But I mean, he is extremely solid. He has tons of two-way potential. His three-level scoring is already there, in my opinion. He can shoot the three pretty well. He has good enough size to make the fadeaway, mid-range game, get to the goal. He does all that when you watch him play. And just overall, I think Ben Saraf is a very solid player and is going to be exactly what people thought Denny Avengita was going to be. Now, I'm not saying Denny's a terrible player, but he's definitely just a okay role player. But I think Ben Saraf has a chance to be an extremely high-level role player and a very much starting-level player in the NBA for a very long time. And now moving to the 10th overall pick, we have the Portland Trailblazers selecting Donnie Freeman, a 6'9" player out of Syracuse who has extremely high ceiling. Now, there is a slight chance he would fall out of the lottery or even in the first round if he doesn't get a lot of playing time, but I don't see that happening, and he's looked like he's getting more and more comfortable as the college season goes on, and his ceiling is just absolutely through the roof. He's a pretty good athlete, extremely high two-way potential at 6'9". He kind of reminds me of Day'Ron Holmes, just a little bit more of an agile, athletic version of Day'Ron Holmes, and he can also shoot the three probably a little bit better as well. So I just think Donnie Freeman is going to be an extremely solid player in the NBA, and with a young team like the Portland Trailblazers, who probably aren't planning on being good anytime soon, or at least not in the foreseeable future, getting a high ceiling guy like Donnie Freeman would probably be worth the risk, because I mean, worst comes to worst, he doesn't work out and you're still a bad team. best comes to best, he becomes a star level player and he greatly helps your rebuild going forward. So I think overall, the Portland Trail Blazers are in a position to take a swing on a guy like Donnie Freeman here with the 10th overall pick. And now 11th overall, we have the Brooklyn Nets, and I have them selecting Drake Powell. Powell is another guy who could definitely fall out of the lottery throughout the year, and it is looking more and more likely he will, but I just think he has a super high ceiling. I like him as a player, and I just have faith that he's going to be able to figure it out because he's a 6'6" guy out of North Carolina. He plays extremely hard, has very good two-way potential, can score pretty much everywhere. Just unfortunately, it hasn't looked like that from this freshman year, and it might take more than 1 year in college for him to get there. But I think if he can get it and work it out and learn how to score consistently this year, he could definitely be a lottery talent. But like I said, very real possibility he no longer ends up in the lottery after this. But I do think Drake Powell is going to be a great player in the future. And overall, I really do believe in him as a player. And I think Brooklyn would be getting a great player alongside him and would be just adding another young piece to this team that they desperately need, with them being in such a weird situation with how their team is currently constructed. And moving on to the 12th overall pick, we have the Sacramento Kings selecting Zvonimir Visic. I am so sorry if I butchered that name, which I probably did, but he is a 7'2" center out of Arkansas, and in my opinion, he is currently the best center in this draft class right now. He is just an overall very solid player. He fits what the modern big needs to be. He's a little slow on the defense side of the ball, so he might struggle guarding the perimeter like most centers. He has a very high ceiling. He can score pretty well for being the size he is. He can shoot pretty well for the size he is, and that should only get better as time goes on, in my opinion. And I think overall, the team is set up in a pretty nice spot to have a guy like him, because I think he kind of fits what they need, because Domantas Sabonis, although he is an amazing center, don't get me wrong, their backup is currently Alex Len. That's not amazing. He's okay, but he's not great, and I think they could really benefit from having a guy that kind of can do the same things Domantas Sabonis can do. Obviously not on the same level. Nobody's near on the same level as Sabonis currently does it, but I think Zvonimir is very talented on the offensive side of the ball. He can block shots, he can grab rebounds, and I think he'd be a much better backup big for them, and maybe even starting big going forward in certain scenarios. So I do think that this would be a great pick for the Sacramento Kings to get 12th overall. And now with the second to last pick of the draft lottery, we have the Dallas Mavericks selecting Hugo Gonzalez. Now, he is a 6'6" forward out of Spain. He has a very solid potential. I think he's going to be a good role player in the NBA. He reminds me kind of like, I don't know, like a almost, I don't want to say like Kyle Anderson, because he plays pretty differently and he's not the same build, but like, I don't know, just kind of the same, I guess, level as a Kyle Anderson in the NBA. Just a very solid role player that's going to be able to stick around. He can score at all three levels. He has two-way potential. Overall, I think he could drop out of the lottery, maybe, because he hasn't getting a lot of minutes overseas right now. But I do think Hugo Gonzalez is a pretty solid player and is going to be a pretty solid player in the NBA one day. And just overall is going to be a pretty good rotational guy for them going forward. And now with the final pick in the draft lottery, shocker, it is, of course, the Oklahoma City Thunder. They're going to find themselves in the lottery basically every year, it seems like. And I have them selecting Jalil Bethea out of Miami, 6'5" shooting guard, just all around a high-level scorer. I think he would be an amazing scorer off their bench, has an extremely high ceiling, just very much on the offense side of the ball, heavy. And I think when they have so many guys like Dylan Jones, like Jalen Williams, like they don't really need much. Like, it's pretty hard, so I'm just going to have them picking the highest ceiling guy, and he's probably not even the highest ceiling guy at this point, but I think he's the most likely to at least come close to his ceiling guy. He's very, very offensively talented, and I think with them losing a guy like Trey Mann in the Gordon Hayward trade, getting another guy that's just a bucket off your bench is a pretty big deal and a pretty big want for the Oklahoma City Thunder, so I think Jalil Bethea would actually fit them pretty damn well. But unfortunately, guys, that's it for this video. So comment below. Do you agree with me? Do you think that these are good picks? Do you think they're terrible picks? I want to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. Who do you think I should have put in the lottery that I didn't have? I know a lot of people are going to say Nolan Traore and all that. I'm just not the highest on them right now, and there is definitely a chance that they could develop throughout the season, and my opinions could change. But as of right now, these are my opinions on the players. Like I said, it's going to very much change by the end of the year. They always do every year, but this is what I am currently at, and I want to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button, hit the like button, and subscribe button, and the absolute word to me, and I hope you have a blessed day, because I had a blessed day, so you need to have a blessed day. All glory to God. See you in the next video. Goodbye. Boo. Blah.